Alright, hello, and welcome to another episode of Echoes of Stardust CSG. I will be your host today, Dragon, as the DM, and the rest of the Echoes of Stardust team, at least most of, I should say, of the Echoes of Stardust team is here. We have Jai with us, we have Marliana, and we have Homie Jones Athu, and I guess Starsha by proxy, but I am more taking DM position right now. But in any case, we are going to go ahead and get started here in a moment with a little quick, brief recap. But before we do, as always, we'd like to start out by thanking, of course, the audience of... Oh, wait, one moment. How could I forget to play the music? Make sure that's playing in the background. Ah, there we go. Now we're doing good. Okay. But yes, before we start, I'd like to thank everyone who listens and watches our stuff. You're a great help as it pertains to sharing the project around and, getting more word of mouth of Dream Forge going out. Of course, real quick introduction, Dream Forge is a in-development sci-fi fantasy tabletop role-playing game that we are currently working on here. And I would say kind of in the moderate amount of development. There's still a lot of things that change retroactively, even though I think we're in a pretty stable-ish position now with the system mechanics and such. But, you know, always changes go around with things in alpha, you know. In any case, if you'd like to know more about Dream Forge, of course, you can stop on by here, go around the channel, and watch this very video as we continue to play in a campaign that some of the devs and other people in the server have been following along with or playing themselves in. Of course, if you would also like to find out more, you can go do so by going into the description box below, where you can find our Discord. That links to, and all of our other socials, like our Twitter, Blue Sky, and Instagram. There we share some of our artwork and also certain updates for the project. Our Discord especially is where the rest of our main community is, and where we feel people trying out the game themselves, organizing for different groups themselves if they want to run or if they want to just play, and just generally talk about the system and kind of get feedback, as we're looking for a lot of feedback to help with the development process to be expedited, of course. You know, the more feedback we get, the more we can react to it retroactively. But outside of that, of course, make sure you hit that like button. I believe there's the hype button if you're on phone. It helps push, I believe, different things in the algorithm, from what I understand, but it's only on phones. I found out, like, actually today, ironically. But outside of that, of course, comments also help. We always like to, at the end of the session, have a little like, what was your favorite part of the session, or have a little comment about X thing that happened during the session. So we'll have to see what that'll be by the end of this video. So, yeah. I think that's basically anything. I don't think there's any major system update information or anything like that I have to share right now. I think we'll go ahead and get started momentarily. Unless I'm forgetting something, Eli?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think the only thing is just that one video is still being planned. This thing's going to talk about, like, some of the big alpha changes, but that's a whole separate video that I still need to record. I'll try to do that this week if I can. Alright, that is not what I need out right now. Here we go. Alright. So, let's go ahead and get to the recap. In the last episode of Echoes of Stardust, the party had made its way back out of the Lalel marshes after having combated some poachers in the form of the Valiant Hook's kind of pirate and Altus regime, or I guess Valiant Hawks members that had splintered now and are kind of roaming around, trying to scrounge whatever, anything of worth they can before they get out of Dodge out of this place. Outside of that, they also fought some Beogal, at least some more, younger Beogal that were chasing after them. which they did actually find out the reason why, or the main primary reason, I should say, why, not just one of the few. Having Starsha reveal, well, at least to Jai at least, that Starsha has a lunar type of paracausal abilities. And also, I guess Marliana finding out that Jai is a little bit more adept than martial combat than they initially might have let on. And of course, the not so shocking, but also at least not revealed at that time thing that Jai has indeed made a pact with a Beogal. Not the same Beogal, of course, that spawned that the party was fighting, but a Beogal nonetheless. Which became the topic of discussion, at least for the initial part of this session, as Jai was, for lack there of a better term, kind of cornered during a meeting with the Alto Latel's Lalel chieftain and Sharptooth, as well as Nuna Swiftwind. Well, she has other roles outside of what the party knows at the moment, but for lack of a better term, the former head of the Lalel tribe's beast taming and rituals, we'll say. Not that she doesn't sometimes do that, but just that she has other roles that the party might find out soon enough. But in any case, yes, Jai was kind of chewed out. Not really, I wouldn't say chewed out. Heavily questioned about their decision-making as it pertained to making a pact with a aberrant force, if you will. Some were a little bit more, how would we say, a little bit more hesitant about this deal or ordeal over others. Some were wanting to distract from the situation as to give Jai a bit of wiggle room, even if they did it in a very interesting way, to say the least, homie, and talking about Beogal shenanigans that Jai might be interested in, or yeah, or suggesting, I should say, that Jai might be interested in. But outside of that, of course, Jai decided to go ahead and flip some of the situation around, deflecting successfully, at least to some extent, not on everything, but just somewhat, to Marliana after a little bit. And this is where I feel like the rest of the session kind of enveloped, after the first chunk was mainly about Jai and their ordeal, we'll say. The second part of the session was really about Karina and Marliana. I guess the easier one to talk about first, actually, is Karina. It's kind of straightforward. Karina, of course, the lizardkin that has joined the party after the shenanigans in Moga earlier, several sessions ago. It was revealed that not only had Karina's kind of path been slightly discussed far before even the party's appearance, we'll say, even in Lapsus at all, far beyond even many of their, or at least when they were even younger. Karina it seems that Karina has had this kind of subtle calling to things that even they were unaware of. Sharptooth, or I should say, going back slightly, Karina has always been slightly odd as it pertains to Lalel. Not just necessarily because they don't have, they've had a rather interesting upbringing, having been kind of trained by very specific members of the tribe for different things. They've also kind of been now, or told recently, that they were to become a type of warrior, you could say, some type of like pseudo warrior champion figure for the Alto people, or at least it was suggested that they should become one, known as the Ahau. More about this role can be found in previous sessions, and I'm sure we'll get discussed a little bit today, and probably definitely in the future. But suffice to say, Karina is not exactly, or was not exactly sure of if they wanted that role, or if they could even fit that role, if they had the skill set, ability, and mainly drive to do so. But there's always been this kind of subtle thing that Karina has felt a calling to explore and leave the Lalel tribe, just generally to go, not necessarily like completely behind, just to explore and find themselves. It was revealed with these recent events, that Sharptooth and Nuna have not only known about this since Karina's birth, it seems, but that Karina has a sort of direct connection to a entity or creature that the Alto have coveted for a long time. Specifically, these creatures are known as Tarashadrox. Tarashadrox are, in their culture, these powerful beasts that once stood with some of the bravest and most powerful Ahau warriors of long ago. Only a select few could even go through the beast bonding ritual to bond to one, as it seems to have to be either a direct hereditary thing, or not hereditary thing, a direct a direct thing that's recognized at birth, this synchronicity between the creature and them, or it has to be something where they can ultimately prove themselves to this entity before that would be bonded to them as they're older. It seems in Karina's case this was a at birth thing, as they revealed that Nuna had gotten, or one of the reasons Eggman had went out was to grab an egg from one of the hatcheries that they had, specifically an egg that was tied to Karina that Karina was never informed about. As this egg was revealed and kind of brought to Karina, it seemed to react directly to their presence, kind of thrumming with a heartbeat, and its kind of soul more emanating now from the egg, as, well, it seems like this is to be their bonded beasts, something they have been lacking that most of the members of their tribe all have by this point. More on that later, as, well, there's still a bit more about that to be revealed, but for the most part, Karina is just at this point waiting for not just the ritual to be able to do the ritual for their bonded beasts, but also for their bonded beasts to hatch so that they can do whatever. Which leads us to the other one of last session that was of discussion, Marliana. Marliana's, we'll say, discussions began shortly after Jai and Karina's, as Starsha asked just a few mild questions, which then spiraled into a whole bunch of discussions in regards to Marliana's past with her siblings more specifically, but also to her upbringing and generally her, we'll just say, lack of what is the word I'm looking for? Confidence as it pertains to herself. Oh, they were gonna say something. Sorry. No, I was also looking at Jai because I thought Jai was going to ask or say something, and I was like expecting. But anyway, but yes, as that, I guess, conversation happened. Sorry, I'm just checking something. Oh, never mind. That was Jai's rolls from earlier. In any case, oh my god, I got mixed up. Sorry. Jai had, oh my god, I lost my train of thought because I was looking at something. I apologize. Oh, right, lack of confidence from Marliana. I apologize. Yes, Marliana's lack of confidence was under scrutiny, we'll say, as Marliana has accomplished at least a pretty decent amount, having been with the party. But Marliana has not exactly felt that way. And moreover, Marliana seems to think of herself as quite the failure in general. After this was discussed a bit more, and moreover, the conversation kind of shifted to ideals, Marliana proceeded to kind of start showing their, how will we say, mental hang-ups around certain issues, and more specifically, their somewhat fractured worldview as it pertains to how they deal or how they see people and how they see situations being dealt with, or moreover, how they feel that people should act in certain situations. After Jai did a little, we'll say, surprise without the potential really of any threat, Marliana had a, I don't even really know how to describe it other than just mental moment, where she began to espouse beliefs of an ideal of might makes right. One that Starsha and Jai quite quickly shot down and immediately, we'll say, confronted her on, as not only did it not make sense for Marliana to have this view, as Starsha said, it would directly a lie that she even would believe this, because she had already been somewhat chastising Jai for their actions towards, we'll say, defenseless combatants in the previous few encounters. It also didn't seem that Marliana actually believed it just from the way that she was talking, and it was instead, as Starsha put it, running away or playing playing a facade to protect people that probably didn't deserve it, i.e. some people in her family. This ultimately culminated after Marliana relented and admitted that that was true, that she had some hang-ups around her mother. And this is kind of as towards the end, as it was revealed after Jai spoke a bit about their mother, at least some information that Jai had found while traveling to Lapsus, that Marliana's mother has actually not been as present and out and about, which is very important. See, Marliana's mother, by the name now we know as Severina, or Severina Zhao. Is it Zhao?
Yeah.
Zhao, thank you. Severina Zhao is known broadly as the kind of champion of the tide, or tides, which is a role for the Tide Pact, one of the consortium's main kind of surrogate military, kind of like, you could argue like allied countries. It's like kind of within theirs, kind of similar to the Alto, except recognized in a better way, at least historically. She kind of represented this big role of a kind of vanguard and protector that would be like not just the last line of defense necessarily, but also the main line of attack in some senses. She was is a potent force of power in the world that definitely had some people, will say, divert their attention, or at least their desire to fight the Tide Pact in the past, at least in the past 20 or so years. However, since the Rising Wars end and such, and more, we'll say, peaceful endeavors have happened, this has been not exactly as more direct of a combatant role, and more of a kind of, we'll say, surrogate kind of role, position of more like presentation. Not that Severina's abilities are worse, at least not at the moment, it seems, just that it was not as necessary at this time, since there was not really much fighting. But Severina has seemingly not been present as much. There has been sightings, as Jai said, of her, at least as far as she knows, but not as much as in the past several years. Marliana definitely reacted a bit overzealously, it seemed, and was frightened, it seemed almost, at the prospect of this, becoming gravely worried about the situation at home in the Tide Pact, but still not really determining if they wanted to actually go back to Chris, something Starsha even pointed out, and kind of left Marliana at that night with a little bit of some thoughts on the matter, and kind of to calm Marliana down, but also to provide something, I guess you could argue, as, we'll say, fairness in the whole ordeal that happened that night. Starsha agreed that she would tell Marliana, and I guess by extension, since the party is definitely going to try to listen in, the party a bit more about her own mother, as Marliana might not be the only one in the party, it seems, with mother issues, to put it lightly. Jai couldn't relate. Anyway. That being said, we're going to begin today's session in a little bit longer intro, but we're going to begin today's session with the morning sort of coming into play now. So I will paint the kind of picture here, because it wasn't really fully described, as the discussion was more of the important thing last night, the night before. All of you are currently staying at what is kind of loosely known as the Lalel communal stay. It is kind of a big kind of inn/hotel area. It is a bunch of different residencies kind of stacked or kind of sourced around each other in a bunch of group kind of, block, or not really a block, kind of gathering. there are various large tents that are erected around the area that people can stay in, and there are these kind of larger, like mini, we'll say lodges as well that are, or not mini lodges that are also around that people can stay in. You guys are set up in a lodge, so it is a multi-room kind of like little area that you guys have been resting in. There's, I believe, 3 main rooms, a washroom, and then also like a kind of loft and living room area that you all have. They're actually pretty decently sized for them, and you have been told that you were given this for free today as a thank you for the previous quest and some other things, but that if you wanted to stay here, you would also need to pay going forward if you wanted to. Unless, of course, you want to try to discuss that with some other people at the communal stage, try to change that. That is currently, as it stands, what the situation is. I don't believe you've been told prices yet, but I will get those momentarily. The actual room that we'll say probably Starsha, Marliana, Jai, just because of the way things are staying in, you're probably in the kind of one of the larger, I'd say, areas, one of the larger rooms. Starsha and Marliana being a lot bigger kind of needs to have one. They're long. There are long girls. Jai, not so much, I guess.
Jai's longish.
Longish. Tail to forehead is... I don't know how tall.
Tail to forehead is 5'10".
So tail to forehead is what? Probably an extra foot? Okay.
Does their tail reach the ground?
Jai's? I think Jai's tail reaches the ground, right? Us frantically looking for Jai's picture so we can see what if their tail touches the ground. I'm sure it'll pop up ironically in the slideshow momentarily, but I can also pull it up on my thing.
I can't really.
Let me see.
It's curved. My tail is curved.
Your tail is curved? Okay, that doesn't make it
I think
easy.
it could, but not by much. Like, I don't think it adds to the height total.
I'm looking.
Hey, this is the picture.
Maybe an inch or two.
If it was all the way, yeah, I don't think it's not like Marliana's and Starsha's, which is like a big extension. I think it's probably not a foot. It's probably like a few inches at most if it's stretched all the way out. So either way, the long girls are staying there, which is important because Starsha and Marliana are long. Homie and Magellan are probably... actually, I imagine Homie, Magellan, and Rebecca are probably staying in the same room, unless Homie would not want Magellan in there. I don't know. Would Homie kick out Magellan?
You gotta kick somebody.
If I kick him out, does that mean he gets stays in his own room?
He would probably stay in the same room as Gathor.
He has company. Then yeah, you go.
Magellan slightly probably would be. He'd be little bit annoyed because he'd be like, "Why don't y'all take the couch?" But he'll let it slide. He'll let it slide. Mainly because you did have a near-death experience, so he's being nice. Also, Rebecca is very clingy, not for like any hint reasons, but like actually because they're scared that you almost died, and they're a little concerned about you. I actually think Feldt would want to stay in your room just to monitor you and make sure nothing bad happens. But you don't have to let Feldt stay there if you don't want to.
No, but fuck it,
Yeah, Magellan sees.
Crazy.
You know what's funny? Magellan sees the difficulties here, and he changes form into Rebecca.
That's crazy.
That's wild. That's
Even
crazy.
crazier.
And then he flicks you off, and then goes and sleeps on the couch. Changes back to Magellan.
I thought he was gonna sleep when Rebecca was one. I'm like, I don't know how to feel about that.
Two Rebeccas. Yes. It takes I was gonna say it takes a real man to be best girl. Anyway, um, besides that, Gathor will be sleeping. Actually, the funny thing is, I think Gathor and Fari would actually probably stay in the same room as Marliana, Starsha, and Jai. There's enough room. Starsha would let you have the bed, Marliana, and I think Gathor would probably lay down next to you. Actually, Gathor would have probably been out before any of you, not gonna lie, but you would probably laid in the same bed with Gathor. Starsha and Fari would have probably gotten 2 bedrolls and just laid down.
Jar just stares at you.
And Jai doesn't really sleep. Oh! Funny thing about that. I need to talk to you about something. And I need to... Yes, I need to pull something up. Just ignore me for a moment. Yes, here it is. I know I need to send you some of the stuff. I will momentarily. Actually, I can send you this. One moment. Jai! Where's your thing? Here it is, foresight with you. Alright. Foresight. There you go. If you look into your foresight thing, you will see some stuff. However, Jai, after you go to sleep, yes, you heard
Jar
me.
just like falls on the floor.
Jai, you are just chilling, probably reading a book, I imagine. Like, I'm pretty sure you usually just read a book through the night, right?
And journal.
Hmm?
And journal.
And journal, yeah. You're just writing like normally. Nothing seems too out of the ordinary. And then all of a sudden, you just kind of blink a little bit, like slowly. Your eyes flutter. You kind of look up into the room. And everything, it's as if the colors start to get very bright and then dim. You blink one more time. Then when you snap your eyes open, you are no longer in the room. You are in a strange place that is subtly familiar. Roll me a recollection. And allow me to change the music. Now, if I can find the damn time music, that would be really nice. If I can't, I have other tools at my disposal. Is anything playing?
I think so, yeah.
I didn't hear anything from Roll 20.
Wait.
From Roll20? It says 0 out of 0 for me.
Yeah. I can hear something.
I'm gonna refresh my page.
Maybe
one
refreshing?
second. Yeah, I'm gonna refresh my page in a second. I'm also
I
gonna
rolled
do
a dirty 20.
dirty 20? Okay. One moment. Let me just look something up.
Yeah. I heard something. Hey, well, never mind. I was gone.
What the? Wait. Why did it go away? I didn't do anything. It's fine. I'm not gonna crash out. It's too early in the session to crash out.
It is.
I'm not gonna do it. It's fine. It's fine. All right, we're gonna refresh the page. Actually, before I do that, let me just see. Can I just a test? Let me just pick a random track.
Loud one.
Great. Refreshing. Technical difficulties. Yay, roll 20. I love it. I love it.
More things change.
Things stay the same. Alright. Sound check. Nothing. I'm
Same.
guessing everyone else can hear stuff, right? Well,
I could, yeah.
sorry, I stopped it. Alright, let me try again. Dog, you gotta be kidding me. Fuck! Play! What if I refresh it while I'm playing something? Okay, I'm gonna do something real quick. I'm gonna pause the recording real quick. I just want to check something. We'll be right back. It'll be as if nothing ever happened. See, as if nothing ever happened, except that you can definitely tell that something did happen. Music is working fine. We're good now. Anyway, as we were, Jai, as I said, you begin to.
I rolled a dirty 20.
Yeah, dirty 20. Thank you. I need that. So you have seemingly drifted, kind of lulled into a strange place that you somewhat remember. And as you rolled that 20, you've been here before, or at least you've perceived this place before. One of the reasons you actually decided to come here is because you actually received a, we'll say, vision of some things in Lapsus. The original vision you saw was something, a form, a mass, some type of item, or not item, some type of like figure or form, stretching out of the briny depths across Lapsus, its form mighty, its size almost overbearing the land across the land. It's causing an enormous tidal wave or a rogue wave to stretch from one side of the landmass to the other, sinking isle after isle, settlement after settlement, before submerging. It seemed like at least you would wager maybe a fourth to a third of a portion of the consortium and Mormon, even Lapsus broadly, Lapsus broadly with noblesse included, into the waters below. You were compelled in some way, before even receiving the message about this team, to come here and find out what this was about. Something kind of pulled you in this direction. This place is something that's been becoming more accustomed to you as you start to experience things from it. You might have a word for it, but at the moment, it seems to be the place where you receive these visions broadly, the place where you receive your premonitions. It is a vista of clouds and static. Lightning bellows and crackles, coiling into the clouds as if sea serpents diving in the water in and throughout coral reefs. There is no ground, so to speak. You seem to be suspended, floating amongst the clouds in the storm. You don't feel threatened inherently while here either, despite the crackle of the lightning being somewhat cacophonous around you. It never touches you, and even if it gets close, you never feel as if the static will actually attach or strike you. But lying across these clouds, sometimes you see these what almost looks like panes of glass or quartz or crystal that seems to be kind of just floating about the clouds. And when you receive these visions is when you make contact with one of these panes. It seems that this time is no different. As you are suspended here in the clouds for a few moments, you feel a pull, an urge, if you will. You look to a cloud, a large one that seems to be slowly approaching you. As you kind of motion your body that way, it's as if you begin to just subtly float that direction without having to do any impulse of your own. Through the cloud, it begins to kind of spread and open slightly as a new pane slowly floats out towards you. It stays suspended around, give or take, 3 feet from you. It does not move closer. It waits for your touch.
I would reach for it.
As you reach for the pane, you can hear the crackle of lightning. It's cacophonous, and the cacophonous thunder almost begin to subside into kind of a serene kind of washing of waves, if you will. The sound is no longer a bellow of uncomfortableness or any type of kind of any ear-splittingness. It is more of like a slight rattle in the back of you. Your vision focuses and is enamored with what lies in the pane. As you touch it, it shatters into various different large and small shards. And as it kind of floats away for a moment, not far, it slowly stops and begins to reconstitute back together. Not fully, just slightly ajar and hovering away from each other, leaving these small, thin spaces of a finger length apart. As you can see, various projections. Though you imagine to someone else it might be hard to understand, but to you, it's as if you're reading, it's no different than reading a book. Scenes of events play. Very easy for you to understand. Though, you're not sure if you will want to, as some of them, or I should say, want to see them as they start to play out. The first is bizarre to you. You believe you know this place. Perhaps you've passed it, or perhaps there is some other, okay, that's fine. Yes, perhaps you passed this at some place, at some time recently, or just perhaps you've seen it in a vision of some sort before. You right? Okay. You see a forest and a path, and in the backdrop, it seems as though you see buildings. Your vision kind of wanders, looking across the canopy of trees, and now the fortifications of walls and structured buildings, of civil infrastructure, I should say. And you begin to recognize it. It is Quald. Though the time of day is hard to tell, it's almost as if it fluctuates between kind of a day and night. Perhaps this has to do with what you're seeing being somewhat indeterminate or undeterminate of time, but nonetheless, the same vista is present. After a few moments, you hear what sounds like a commotion. You turn your vision, now you're looking away from the town for a moment, as you can see a figure or a form you don't recognize, a person, if you will. They brandish a large kind of gilt-bladed rifle on their back. You can see they also seem to have other types of armaments as well attached to their hip. And they seem as if they are locked in combat with these strange watery masses that seem to be appearing out of puddles that have been dotted around the ground. There is a chime sound, a strange ringing that irritates your ears. It kind of disrupts the natural flow of sound, of reverberation. But then it subsides. But as it does, more of these forms appear. And eventually, you see the figure draw their weapon. You hear a roaring sound, a guttural roar, not like that of a draconic creature, but something else, some type of maybe aberrant or abyssal type of thing. You're not sure where it emanates from, but all you know is that you're drawn behind once more to look at Quald. Quald seems to be under siege. The town is lit ablaze in several sections. The guild hall, you can see half of it has been completely destroyed, being bowed inward, collapsed. You're not sure why it is. Well, you can see there are people forms fighting. Some you recognize as Fari, Eobon, Greyfang. What they fight, it seems like your vision's being clouded or obscured. But they do not look good. Many of them weathered. Some of them not moving as they're on the ground and are being assisted, in Eobon's case. As your vision pulls back to the figure that was outside, you can see they seem to face off against a new form. Or, yes, it would be a new form. This one seems to resemble the watery kind of monsters that you were seeing before attacking, but it's larger. Its mass kind of congealing into a more humanoid presence. It seems to brandish some type of weapon. It draws, and then it begins to move towards the other figure. And now, the original figure you can see more clearly. Not just with their weapons, but their mass and their, we'll say, their body more directly. They appear to be... You actually immediately recognize them almost similar to Starsha. Not her, but similar species. It seems to be some type of baleful tail based on the length of their tail. And based on the features that look more draconic, you imagine there's some type of dragon mix of some kind. They seem definitely more physically endowed, having more like musculature to their body than Starsha does, and they seem more kind of martially inclined, I'd say. But they seem to go in and swing against an enormous sea of 60 of these creatures as they begin to race towards them. As that happens, your vision fades from that. The form, the glass shards sink together, and then it floats away back to the clouds. As you're kind of thinking about that one, you feel as if a presence is behind you. You turn, and another pain has now approached you, still unmoving beside you. What would you like to do?
So, like, turn around the face, whatever?
Say it again?
Turn around the face, whatever.
You turn around and you see it is another pane of glass that has appeared out of another cloud.
I don't know if it's just me, but I can't hear Jai. I haven't for.
You might need to speak up slightly.
Turn around the face of the shard of glass.
Can you hear that?
Nope.
Lewis, could you hear Jai?
Can you hear me?
I can't hear anybody other than you.
You can't hear.
Maybe OBS is picking me up.
Oh, never mind.
but Discord isn't?
You can hear them now?
Yeah, no.
Am I very quiet?
You were before, but now you sound fine.
I'm just...
I think it might just be you might just have to speak a little louder. I'll move the mic closer because I've got a loud voice.
Okay.
You guys can still hear me fine, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. As you said, go ahead, Jai.
So I would just kind of turn around and like look at the shard of glass.
It is the pane has not shattered. It is just a new pane that has come out of the clouds. It is as if it is beckoning you towards it, but it is your choice on what to do.
I suppose Joe would go towards it.
Would you you go towards it?
Mhm.
It does not move. It waits for your action. It is beside you.
Maybe Joe would pick it up and look at it.
You pick it up, and as your fingers touch it, the glass once again shatters. Not cutting you, just kind of moving around your fingers, floating off a bit before reconstituting slowly back, slightly a finger length apart in different shards, and begins to project once more images and visualizations. This time, your vision sees something the vista is not necessarily determinate. You don't actually think you're looking at perhaps a place in particular, but more of a moment. Your vision is cloudy still, as the environment is almost made intangible, and as if it's trying to, kind of almost trying to draw your attention away from the surroundings itself and more to the moment itself happening. When you see, I tagged off the thing, I'm sorry. When your vision is now focused, you see Starsha. Though for some reason, something is off about her. You kind of peer a little bit more, and as you almost dig and look a little bit closer, your eyes begin to slowly almost flutter with energy, using your spiritual senses. The image of Starsha that seems normal, it begins to kind of shift and jolt a little bit, as if it almost is almost wavering. Their body is turned away from you. You can see or feel, perhaps, some type of thrum of energy. It's faint at first, but it slowly begins to grow more and more and more. Eventually, it's no longer just a thrum, but almost a rattle, a shake, a wavering and unpredictable energy. One that is familiar to you, as you recently felt it from them. You almost instinctually begin to approach their form. As you do, the same waveriness to their form continues. You instinctively reach out, and as you touch them, it's as if something reacts. You feel as if a sharp pressure and pain has cut across your chest. You look down and you feel the immediate sting of something sharp having sliced across you. You kind of wince in pain, backing up a little bit. And then, as you look back towards Starsha, it is as if you are looking at them in a very, very different light. No longer are you seeing the Starsha that you've seen the last several days. It is as if you were looking at a feral animal. You see Starsha's eyes clouded over with this foggy purple, an almost predator-like stare looking back at you, a hunger, and a dangerous desire of destruction behind it. Their stance is no longer that of a somewhat dignified and reserved combatant that you're used to seeing of Starsha, the calculating nature, but one of a ravenous beast, ready to strike at anything that moves. It snarls and looks at you, no longer seemingly seeing you as Jai, but as a new morsel, a new challenger to whatever it feels it has been threatened by. Its arms, or I should say Starsha's, though it does seem more fitting to say it at this point, begin to coalesce with a lucent energy that matches somewhat of that of what you saw in the previous battle, but now tinted slightly purple. Its vibrancy almost feels, what's the word? Intoxicating, or almost off-putting, as it begins to kind of peer on you, blinding you slightly. It wraps across their body, forming almost these more bestial-like protrusions from Starsha. And after a few moments, as you slowly begin to back up, you can see their vision snaps forward, looking at you directly, before it leaps forward at you. And as it does, the vision fades, and you are back.
I think Jai would just kind of sit and ponder, maybe write it down.
Okay. as if reeling from that, and you can feel, it almost feels like despite that vision, you kind of look at your chest and almost feel this tinge of pain, as if something had actually cut you, but you don't see a wound. But you turn once again as another pain has begun to appear behind you. You've had this experience before, perhaps not always as visceral of these visions, but now getting 3 within one setting is a new thing. It's usually never this active, never this repeatable. You wonder why that is, but you imagine you will not get an answer, at least not immediately. The pain waits.
I will walk towards it and reach to pick it up.
You reach to pick up the pain, and as you do, once more it shatters and reconstitutes. There is a sense you feel of finality with this one. Perhaps it is the last one that your vision intends to show you at this moment. Nonetheless, it is no less important. That's not it. That's not it. That's also not it. I literally just pulled it up. Where did it go? So, as your vision begins to blur, staring into the panes and the shards from the pane of glass, you feel a slight, perhaps ill feeling, as your vision begins to slowly clear. Your vision clears, and you see you. Well, not just you and the rest of your companions, compatriots, standing atop the deck of a vessel. This vessel is not recognizable to you, but there is a sense of perhaps reason and ownership about this vessel. Perhaps this is something that might belong, or maybe is temporarily, you're not sure. But it is not the main focus. It is raining, and the waves grow choppy across the deck and across the bow of the ship. You'll prepare for something that is coming. Erupting from the briny waters that circle the ship, they see maybe dragon of some kind. It rears its back and readies itself, kind of leaning onto the side of the ship. A strange distortion of sound erupts in your ears. You begin to hold them, rattling, beginning to give you that same irritation from the first vision, it feels like, though now it is much more violent, much more visceral. Your vision shifts back and forth, your head spinning and the clouds now darken, peaking an eerie green, milky light that pours across the deck. It hurts. It hurts. It feels violent. It feels aggressive. It feels wrong, you think. But it continues. The vision slightly distorts. Perhaps time has passed, or maybe it's before, you're not sure. You're slightly disoriented. And now you see the Drake shore once again. One eye glowing that same greenish hue. It wails in pain as the rest of you and your party are slightly groveling on the ground. Some of you heavily injured, others not moving at all. You feel racked with pain, you feel yourself slipping, as you begin to slightly fall backwards, unable to move or think. As you begin to fade, the tendrils of something slithers like slugs of oil all across your body and mind. You hear a voice whisper in your ear. A taste of thought. vision snaps back forward.
Hmm.
The pane of glass does not reconstitute. It begins to almost melt like a candle wax, beginning to pool below you before dissipating into a dust.
Hmm.
The bellowing crackle of lightning somewhat comes back. Not violent, or as it was before, but still more cacophonous than it was during the vision. As you blink, you feel as if your time here has come to an end. And now, you wake up. It is morning. You are no longer in this strange place of clouds and storms. You are back in the communal stay with the rest of the party.
Is anyone else awake?
Everyone is seemingly beginning to wake up now.
Was anyone awake before me?
It doesn't seem, well, actually, there would be somebody awake. It seems as though Starsha has came in after having bathed, and who is it? I'm sorry, not Fari. Starsha came back from bathing, and Magellan you would probably see heading down to the washroom from outside your door. Marliana seems to be asleep beside Gathor. Gathor actually does seem to be slightly waking up, but she's still kind of hugging her pillow. Fari seems to be up, and they seem to be going through some notebooks of some kind, or different books. But they haven't said anything.
I think Jai would play it off like nothing ever happened.
Okay.
Until someone mentioned it.
Alright, well. After all that... let me just,
I have a DM question for you.
You have a DM question. I might have a DM answer. Go ahead.
It's not related to this, so I'll wait.
Oh, okay. Write it down just so you don't forget.
Okay.
Where? I'm looking for my Alto music. No, that's the battle music. I don't want battle music. I want happy music. Relaxing music. Oh, this. Can you hear? Actually, that's not the track I was looking for. There we go. All right. So yes, everyone, everyone's beginning to wake up at this point now. It has been a night for some. Marliana, you would begin to slowly be waking up now as well. Starsha seems to be up. You notice Jai, at least at the moment, doesn't seem to have slept, but at this point you kind of know that that is a normal thing for Jai. Unless you'd like to roll a move. Actually, yeah, you go for it.
What was the second? What was the second option?
Mood. It was just mood.
Oh, I thought.
Can Jai
That's cool.
Yes, you can. Roll
deception?
me a misdirect.
Oh.
You're rolling a mood still. Yeah. Oh, homie, I wanted to tell you something as well. You were trying to figure out how to get your dice to manually roll again.
I think I fixed it.
You just have to uncheck automatic dice.
No, I know.
No, he tried that. That was a thing he tried for a hot minute and it never worked.
Yeah.
Jai would like to
hopefully-
use Cat's Luck.
I would like to use Cat's Luck. I'm guessing you rolled really bad.
A 6.
Yeah, that's a really bad one. All right, Cat's Luck.
Are you really? That's crazy. I got an 18.
All right. Well, what you get now, Jai?
A 9.
Damn.
I wasted Cat's Luck on that.
You did with Cat's Luck. Well,
It happens.
it does. Marliana, as you're getting up, you notice just faintly, Jai had kind of slowly kind of opened their eyes a little bit. Actually, I should definitely roll for Starsha. I know she has a passive move, but I should roll. They'd have to roll. That was almost a 1.
Roll the 1.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, you notice, like, just subtly, Jai is a bit, I was gonna say a bit weird, that's an understatement. Jai is many things, but Jai is usually pretty, I would say, collected, calm. It's similar to Starsha in the sense that, like, they're never really people that seem fazed by much. However, there is a subtle moment where Jai wakes up. Like, you can tell that their demeanor was not the same as it was before, and it's as if something visceral kind of almost like jolted them. And you can see that kind of moment of jolt. That was not them kind of just staring off into the distance and then just kind of like having an epiphany. It's like the jolt of someone waking up from like a night terror, almost. And they kind of like immediately look like left, right, and then they kind of return back to their normal posture. Take that what you will.
Everything okay over there, Jai?
Yeah, I'm fine. I was just honestly, I closed my eyes a bit just to think. And I don't know. I came to a conclusion about some things, but I'm still thinking about them.
Starsha stops like next to you kind of and like looks over and is like, what were you thinking about?
Lots of things. Bilgal, Noblesse, Lapsus, the Consortium.
A lot I see. Well, I guess we do have a lot to think about. What's that? I guess we do have a lot to think about.
That's true. Just I need to roll a misdirect or something.
Did you roll? That was the 9.
Oh.
And I gave you some extra for what you said, but both of them. I mean, Jai, as far as Jai is concerned, they haven't said anything that would make you think they know something's up, but it's up to Jai. Starsha just kind of nods, and she walks over and sits down at the desk next to Fari. And just kind of crosses her legs and kind of leans back. Just looks outside the window. It's raining.
Interesting.
I guess it's not too surprising. We are in a marsh.
Yeah, it's quite common here.
Though, it does look like it might get heavier today.
It's okay.
We should probably keep that in mind. Not that any of us really do use fire energy, but it is something notable. Might diminish it a bit.
Okay.
I should say as well, homie, at this point you have also awoken. Rebecca, who was clinging on to your waist, who was clinging onto your waist, is no longer in the bed. They seem to have left for the moment. Feldt is currently passed out, was in a chair, or not in a chair, in a sleeping bag off the bed. They have their medical kit kind of out. It seems like they were monitoring your condition throughout the night, and they have passed out slightly from exhaustion.
Can I inspect my own body?
Yeah, roll me a medical. Just kind of giving yourself a little quick once-over. That or an appraisal. Actually, I think this would be a better appraisal. Because I imagine you're not using like a medical. You're just kind of like looking and checking yourself, right?
I want to like. I guess I can't still roll my own dice. Oh, got a 19.
19, okay. You can feel a bit of how would I put it? There's a little bit of a slight like odd taste in your mouth. It's not the usual like odd taste in the morning. It kind of has a weird like almost metallic feeling for a moment, but you kind of just shrug it off, flop your ears a bit, and swallow to kind of make it go away. But it's just kind of faintly there, but it doesn't really seem to really stay like.
Does that mean blood?
It can mean, yeah, it can mean blood.
I would know that
But-
usually metallic taste means blood.
It can mean blood, but you don't. I will say this: you don't actually feel like it is, but you don't know what it is. It's just like faintly there. And again, it does diminish to the point of not feeling like as apparent to you. That being said, you as that's kind of happening, you look at your arms, you look at your chest. You notice that while some of your scars are there, some of them, how would I put it? Some of them feel as if they're, or some of them appear to almost be as if they've gotten smaller, like they've shrunk slightly.
Alright, this is the ultimate test. I undo my tail belt and look at my main.
Your main scar? The main scar is
Main
still
scar.
there, but it is definitely smaller than you remember it.
Huh?
Just faintly. It's something that anyone else probably that's not like a medical physician would probably not notice, but you having obviously covering it all the time, definitely know what its like size and shape is. It's definitely gotten smaller, even if it's subtle. But it doesn't feel irritated, puffy, or anything. You don't think that Feldt did anything to it. It doesn't seem as if there's anything magical like laced across it. There's no type of healing salve or anything like that. There is on certain other portions of your body where you got hit by the bale gall, but this is not that area. It just seems like it's been slightly affected by something, but nonetheless, you don't feel sick or hurt or anything.
It's not like a rush or anything.
Wouldn't know what to.
I just noticed that when I checked the sheet.
Hmm?
I just noticed that when I checked the sheet.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'll
What was that, homie?
redo my tail belt.
Okay.
I'll just put back my tail belt. I wouldn't. And I know that what's happening to me is unusual, but I don't know how to like.
You don't know how to like.
I wouldn't know how to check, so I just.
Right. But yeah, Feldt seems to just be softly sleeping by you. Rebecca, you don't know where she is, but you assume she's fine. Like, there's no like sign of distress or anything. She just seems like her stuff is still around this room. But yeah. You may do what would you like
I'll
to do?
just. I dead ass would just stay there until something happens.
Okay.
I dead ass would just lay in bed until
You would hear like
something.
the door. I would say you would hear the door open from the washroom down the hall, or sorry, not down the hall. There's not really a big hall, but like in the loft area or connected loft area, and you'd hear Starsha say something to Magellan about like, "All right, it's open for you. Hurry up. I'm sure we're going to have another big day." And Magellan's like, "Right. How come I didn't get a bed?" She's like, "You know, you could have stayed in our room." It's like, "Yeah, I didn't want to intrude." It's like, "Oh, well, aren't you the gentleman?" And it seems like both Starsha and Magellan are up. You see her Magellan enter the washroom, and then Starsha enter another room. So you can hear like the murmuring sounds of something being spoken about. But yeah.
I would stay in a room.
Okay. So cutting back over, after Starsha had mentioned the rain and such, and talking to Jai. Starsha will kind of close her eyes for a second and look back over to Marliana, Jai, Fari, and the other and such, and just take a deep breath, and then just say, "All right, feel free to ask me."
Ask you what?
I did say I'd keep my. I do like to keep my promises. I did say last night that I would share with you some things about my, we'll say, personal dilemmas, family dilemmas.
I feel that Marliana should go first. No, I don't really feel the need to intrude.
Was that heard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you're more than welcome to share whatever you'd like, but I mean, you don't have to. It's okay.
Fiona says, no, 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 it's fine. I did say that I would share. After all, I do have some more questions to you, but it's only fair. You were the one sharing last night, so it's only fair that I start sharing some. But I'm not really sure it's going to be that spicy of information. She kind of gives a little bit of a not side eye, but like a slight raised eyebrow to Jai. But looks back over to Marliana.
Well, if I remember correctly, it was details about your mom.
She nods.
What was that situation like for you?
She kind of thinks for a minute. You notice, I mean, I wouldn't even really make you do like a mood for this, or awareness, but you do notice that besides Starsha, Fari kind of stops writing as much, and is definitely, you can see her ears slightly flop up.
Mm-hmm.
Showing that she is definitely listening in on the conversation, even if she's not inputting at the moment. To say the least. Why do I feel like there's someone else in this room I'm forgetting? Oh, Karina. No, Karina would have probably been outside with, Karina's on the long one.
I mean, Karina lives here. Wouldn't she have her own place?
She would, but she likes staying with you guys.
I don't really know. I mean,
No,
that's
she
an
does.
assumption.
She does. She just doesn't. She just would have stayed with you guys. She came back with you guys here, so.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, you know, she is part of the party.
Yeah.
Wait, why do we have to pay for housing instead of just staying in Karina's house?
Because Karina's house is not built for 9 people.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're a pretty big party.
So
Oh,
Oh, do you
I've
remember
never-
that one
sleep in
time
the
where
dining room
everyone came to my
Actually,
apartment, like way back when? There was like 15 people staying in a 2-bedroom apartment,
I do remember that, yes.
sleeping on the floor.
Yes. I mean, technically,
Good times.
you could, but it's kind of like Alto Lalel residency, not people that are not part of the tribe residency. That's kind of the main
Yeah,
issue.
Her
this
dorms
just
are
seems
very
like the place
restrictive.
where we.
What was that?
Her dorms are very restrictive.
Their dorms are very restrictive. You gotta be members of the Lalel to be in those areas, I guess you could say. Not that they don't have areas for other people, just that, like, if you wanted to stay in that area. But, yeah. Also, Karina was looking to leave anyway, so most of their stuff is, like, on them. So they could go back there and, like, stay in one of the communal, like, areas, but they don't have to. Why not just stay here? But they'd probably come in, because they're curious as well, hearing about Starsha's mother. Anyway, I'm pulling that up now. I totally wasn't stalling. Okay.
Jai thinks and then says, actually, I do have a question for you. It's more about your paracausal abilities.
Starsha definitely, she kind of looks over to you, kind of like eyebrow raises, and then kind of says, "I'll get to that in a moment." So, yes, you said how did that go for me? Well, in regards to my mother, Well, it's funny to mention that. My mother was, how will we say, absent in most of my adult life. I honestly barely remember much of my childhood, anyways. And even if she was part of it, I wouldn't really say it's can't remember. I guess you could say I have partial amnesia from events prior to when I was 12. So, don't remember much about my mother, outside of the fact that she was some overseer along with my father in some program. That's the best I could say. But shortly, I guess, at some point, my mother, I guess I never said my mother's name. Her name is Nebula. But it doesn't really matter. She abandoned me and my father when I was around that age. My father, will say, disputes certain parts of it, but as far as I can slice it, he was there, she wasn't. She left us, I guess you could say, me, this device. You can see it's the device she kind of wears across her neck, the necklace. Though I'm sure you all know that already, I've mentioned it before. And, well, that's really all there is about it. My mother is, I wouldn't exactly say mother of the year potential at the moment, at least as far as I'm concerned. If she wanted to try to get in contact with me, she has a hell of a way of doing it. And besides, I'm not really sure what I'd say to her now.
Why do you have so much amnesia?
I'm not exactly sure. Which is, I guess, pretty funny, isn't it? I'd assume it was some type of accident. Or at least, that's what my best guess is. But see, I mentioned that my parents were part of some type of program. They were, I guess you could say, researchers who were studying various causal and paracausal anomalies. I somewhat believe before I was born, even. This device, I guess. So that and the device I wear are the reasons that the group is predominantly after me and my father. And, well, it's part of the reason I believe that I have amnesia. See, I think that I experienced some form of experimentation or augmentation, if you will, when I was younger. I don't exactly know the full extent or reasoning behind these augmentations. Hell, I'm not even sure how they even work. But I do know that they're still there. Slowly but surely. Activating. I trust my father, but he doesn't really know much about some of them, outside of the general enhancements that people that they work with had. Of course, Nebula probably has most of the answers, and probably had most of the more extraneous tests done to me. So yeah, I guess you could say that my amnesia is probably caused by some sort of augmentation. Maybe. I don't know.
Do you think the device is part of amnesia?
Funny. I don't think it is. I didn't know about this thing until several months ago. My father brought it up after some, we'll say, odd dreams I was having. And
Question?
sorry, right, you can't hear. The question was, the Jai asked, does Starsha think that the device is causing the amnesia? And Starsha was saying that she does not think that because up until 7 months ago, effectively, she didn't even know this thing existed. Not to mention, if It was. It wasn't exactly nearby me, at least to my knowledge. I'm not even sure it admits any type of energy signature, at least not at the moment. No, I have a feeling it's tied to my, as you asked a moment ago, paracausal abilities. But I guess that was the next question, wasn't it, Jai? One moment, Jai's coming back.
Question was, if you could talk to your mother now, would you?
She kind of thinks. She crosses her arms for that and kind of just thinks. I feel like if I were to meet her, I'd inevitably end up asking her a lot of questions that I'm not sure would be favorable to either of us. I don't know if you want the actual answer. I didn't want to see her face again, personally. She abandoned us, what do I really have to say? But
I mean, there's a lot that can be said. There's probably a lot of answers as well. Usually things aren't as simple as they originally appeared.
sometimes, but as far as I'm concerned, it's not like there's a chance I'm gonna find her right now. Hell, this might not even lead to her. I don't even know if she's alive right now. Well, I guess. I know that the group after me is looking for her, so at least they think she's alive. Or maybe they think that wherever she is, or wherever she died, that there's something there. Kinda hard to care about the person that abandoned you.
You don't necessarily need to. Well, I am curious about the paracausal abilities. Have you ever lost control?
She looks over. But that question more directly.
Have you?
She kind of thinks for a minute, turns away. During training over the last month, I had we'll say the incident. My father was there though and kept it in check. But besides that, I don't recall ever having one. You can see here, she kind of closes her eyes thinking. And she kind of just fidgets a bit for a moment. She just shakes her head. No, I don't recall any.
Do you know what your father did to fix it? You don't have to tell me what it is, I'm just curious.
As far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, I believe he just subdued me.
How?
I'm not really sure.
He's a pretty good fighter.
Maybe some type of physical or spiritual restrainment. Probably some type of spiritual restrainment. That wouldn't be necessarily too difficult for him. One of his source of energy comes from a kind of anti-energy, so.
Interesting.
Though he did tell me that anti-energy has some odd interactions with paracausal energy. So I'm not really sure. Though I can assure you, he would easily he would be able to best me in any type of combat. I'm not surprised he would be able to do so.
And that's for now. Eventually you'll be just as strong as your parents, if not stronger.
No, I'm not saying that as a way of feeling necessarily down on myself. I'm quite proud of my father. I would say I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for him.
That's fair. Though I would assume, given that you have paracausal abilities, and you haven't mentioned your father also having them, you will surpass his strength one day.
What was the last part?
You will surpass his strength one day.
Maybe. Not exactly as... I wouldn't say it's exactly my main concern at the moment.
Understandable.
Any other questions? She looks across the room. I told you it wasn't exactly anything too interesting.
Marliana, did you have any questions?
I think you cut up. I think you said no.
I was thinking still.
Oh, okay.
You think? Let me get reminded of something. The AO have people looking for you, right?
She nods.
Do you think that your mother's disappearance could be behind that, maybe? It'd be good to know why she left.
Undoubtedly. It's probably related. I mean, after all, they are looking for this device, and I assume by proxy her. Another kerfuffle she's got us involved in. She kind of looks to the side when she says that. Not like facing any of you. You can't even be here, then. Never mind. She kind of shakes her head.
What if you hid the device instead of wearing it? Wouldn't they stop chasing you in here?
True, but I have a feeling if I did, they would just simply... I imagine they would still come after me to find the device. And if not me, my father. I don't want them after him. He's already done enough to try to get them off of my trail for the time being.
That's fair.
No. Whatever they want in this that's related to this device, I'm not inclined to let them have. I have my own reasons outside of my mother to want them to not have this.
Did your mother have to work for the AO?
I did mention she worked for a group that studied paracausal and causal anomalies, didn't I?
You did.
Well, there's your answer.
Why did you get paracausal abilities instead of, like, your mother or your father?
Good question. I'm not really sure. Well, maybe. My father told me the last time I was there with him in Gara that I had part of my augmentations might be the reason why. It's the reasons why I took certain pills. They apparently were suppressing some of my abilities, I guess, until they couldn't anymore.
About these augmentations, why did you get them?
Wasn't my choice. You did hear me say that I was a child when this happened.
Yeah, but why would your parents choose that?
I guess it was customary. Most people in the AO are augmented in some way. It's part of the reason why I think Homie is like how he is. Not that Homie is part of the AO, of course. But I have a feeling that someone related or an organization probably augmented Homie in some way. I couldn't tell you what those augmentations could be, but he has we'll say, the archetype for somebody that was augmented. Probably unknowingly, based on his mindset on things.
Where the AO, like, where's their, like, home location?
If you could figure that out, that'd be quite useful.
Do you think it's somewhere in Lapsus or
Maybe.
up in the stars somewhere?
She kind of looks up, into the clouds. That's also a possibility. But in either case, I don't know exactly where it is, and it's not like I can act without having that information. For now, I'm inclined to just find a place where where my father and I can be free, so to speak. Or more specifically, he can.
That's fair. Are all the AOs so interesting, per se?
She kind of raise an eyebrow when you say that. Interesting, how?
It seemed a bit cool. But given that your parents were one, I didn't want to be rude.
Oh, do you mean experimenting on children?
Yeah.
To my knowledge, the program we were part of, you could say, was, well, sort of like a daycare. Maybe an orphanage.
I'm crazy,
per se.
Don't they have child testing banned in many locations?
Yes, but the AO is not an organization that, will say, acts under the jurisdiction of any other nation, nor by any of their rules. That being said, as my father explained it, and even some of the documents I read, at least under their supervision, all testing and augmentation was very limited, it seemed. If anything, it seemed like the adjustments made were to help occupants be able to control their abilities more directly.
Jai just kind of mutters under their breath. I think I found the perfect home for the bail ball. 2 birds, 1 stone.
Starsha, her ear flops to that, but she doesn't say anything. She kind of continues and says,
Does Jai notice the ear flop?
yeah, slightly, just a slight flick of the ear, but she continues. But in any case, though, past the augmentations, the other things that was just general health and care. Make sure that the children there are kept after and taught well. Important information, life lessons, etc. It wasn't that type of place until, kind of thinks, until, sorry, my head just hurts a bit.
You're fine. So,
As far as I remember, we'll say, I remember it wasn't a bad place, at least not all the time.
given that a huge portion of your memory is missing, I question that.
That's a fair point. I wouldn't exactly say I'm a reliable narrator in this case. But perhaps you can call it a bit of bias. I could not see my father doing something as terrible as discarding children as waste and such. In fact, I do have one vivid memory. My father and... She kind of rolls her eyes at this. Yes, even my mother, was directors there, were loved by the children and the other staff.
Hear me out. This might sound a bit crazy. But
Sure.
what if, we help all of the children and your father evacuate? And then we just give the place to the bail call.
She actually audibly starts just kind of laughing at that. And it's kind of like, you want this in the bail call there. That sounds fun.
The bail call could create a beautiful home. I'm sure there's lots of space.
Besides, as nice of a thought as that is, she kind of looks a little bit off to the side and just says, I'm not sure it would really be worth it.
I mean, I think the bail call would be happy. You could save some more children.
wouldn't
And you could maybe
exactly
find some
say-
information about your mother.
I wouldn't exactly say they're saving Minnie or any of us.
Not necessarily. I think it's all about perspective.
Since my father and my, we'll just say, absentee guardian haven't been there during a portion of time where my memory is the most fuzzy, when they were unable to be part of things, we had we'll say a switch of hands, a new director for some time. And I believe it's been that same way since I've been gone at the, we'll say, school academy.
So I heard your father isn't there, so we could just have the Belgal start building a home there now.
I don't know exactly where it is. It was somewhere in Charisse.
I'm sure the Belgal would find, like, paracausal things quite interesting.
Well, it might be difficult. See, the people coming after me, well, you know they're the AO, but to be more direct, they're the other members of that orphanage. We were, how would you say, expendable.
So you're getting some rehabilitation therapy for them.
She kind of like, there's a slight scoff and chuckle at it, but she just kind of says, I don't imagine many of them care or want it.
Fair. But still, it would be worth it to try.
It might be, she kind of says, one of my goals is we'll say, she kind of says, one of my goals is to get rid of that.
Okay.
Most of us you could consider defective. And while some directors, my father will say, loved us all in spite of that, the AO has no use for, I'll say, defective tools outside of a use-by-use case. And once they're done, they're discarded.
I don't think it's possible to be a species and be defective. You just exist.
As far as the AO is concerned, anything that's anomalous is a defect that needs to be corrected and controlled, corralled into a box, or gotten rid of.
This is why I think it would be the perfect home for the Belgal, because I'm pretty sure they could do... You know, they could build a wonderful home there. That would probably be a bit less spoiled.
I wouldn't be against it. I could have some fun with the Beogol. There were two birds, one stone, as you said.
Yeah. I think Jai would try to talk to the one in their head and say, how would you feel about that? A whole area to yourself, a whole world, in fact.
The Beogol is a kind of slow kind of churning for a moment in your head, and the Beogol kind of thinks, the AO. Name I have heard before. Rarely cross paths with myself.
That means it's some more stuff for you to learn. Knowledge is power.
Indeed. However, equally as dangerous.
But would it be worth it for the reward?
All depends. And the voice subsides.
Jai just says, well, he didn't object, so.
Oh, right. I do have to remember that you have a inside voice listening to everything we say around you.
I don't think he perceives you as a target.
That could change at a moment's notice, but sure for now.
He sounded slightly intrigued by the idea of taking the AOs home and making it the Beogals.
Oh, so he's aware of them. I guess something like that would probably be. Wouldn't be surprised if Beogol are probably on the top of one of their list of creatures to, how we say, suppress.
I'm not one to use this phrase or really believe it, but in this situation it kind of fits. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Perhaps in this case that would be apt. But in any case, doesn't do us any good until we find any of the information, and at the moment I'm more preoccupied of getting rid of the other executioners as well as finding a place that's safe.
That's
And
fair.
this damn key, figuring out how this thing works.
That's fair. So I think we should keep that in mind, you know? Potentially, this might sound crazy. We could actually work together and find something that might be able to make us both happy.
Referring to the Beogol in that case?
Yes.
Hmm.
He doesn't seem to object. He's not like demanding for lapses or anything.
Karina kind of speaks up, like, are we sure we want to trust the Beogol though?
I think the AO are much more intriguing than little old us.
They kind of like nod slowly, but just kind of, okay, keep looking into the conversation.
What do you think, Marliana?
I don't have enough information about the AO, but from what I understand, Beogol really shouldn't be trusted, it sounds like. Especially when their end goal is to do the damage that they do.
I mean, personally, I don't know if every Beogol has the same end goal, per se. Given how much they vary.
You all want a place to live?
Yeah,
Well, they create broods when they settle.
true, but that is the thing that I'm offering it. The AO. It could create a huge brood over there. Could get rid of the AO. Create a home of its own.
And what about the surrounding areas? We still don't know where they are. There could be a lot of innocent lives
I'd assume
in
that
danger because of that.
That's fair. I'd assume like the AO isn't just chilling in like the middle of Noblesse. I would assume they're up somewhere pretty far away from the rest of society.
Assuming is dangerous.
You're right. Which is why I will seek more information.
My
Good.
uncle might know more, but he's kind of scattered.
You mean in the head?
The
or
AO
you mean
attacked him.
literally?
His mind is he saw some things that sort of broke him, so he's not always all there.
Mm.
Might be worth it to talk to him one day. Sometimes you can pick up the pieces and learn new things.
Yeah, well, he defended a pretty large-scale attack against them, so at least that could help.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you did mention that, didn't you? I'm surprised the AO isn't known for failing in aspects like that. But your uncle seems like he might have be quite the, despite being perhaps a bit eccentric, perhaps the quite
I think
useful
people
individual.
call people like him doomsday preppers.
Well then,
His
perhaps
focus is in the stars, bro, not here.
Well, I'm happy the AO met their match in that case.
There's nothing wrong with a little bit of preparation. You just don't want to change your whole life because of it.
Yeah, well, he did. But I guess it kept him alive.
I guess in that one situation, yes. That being said, we should be very careful about mentioning, as I said, the AO around certain places. They have ears, eyes, and mouths everywhere. You never know when they'll be able to reach their tendrils around to get you.
Don't worry, I won't mention it again unless we're in an enclosed space like this one.
She nods.
Do they have any identifiable attire? I imagine that they're secret people, but Like they're executioners and they're soldiers?
Hmm. Believe it or not, I would say attire-wise, they're quite actually noticeable. We have a thing with geometric shapes, it seems. Squares, triangles, etc. Pentagon, pentagons, etc. A lot of their attire has a sort of, we'll say, shapely mesh to it. That being said, they're definitely decent with stealth too. They have capabilities in technology that far exceeds even something like the Garan militaries. We're not talking about a group we're talking about a group that's been hidden for several eras past. You don't just keep your existence hidden from the entire realm by just having a few gizmos and tricks. One of the main things is the active camouflage most of them are equipped with.
This is why I think that their like home location is probably really far away.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It would need somewhere big, but also somewhere completely invisible to the naked eye.
Karina actually raises a hand. So she kind of looks over. Karina's like, I had a question. You mentioned, executioner? What does that mean exactly? I think you said it was, people after you, right? The part of the AO. So she just nods. She's like, yes. I mean, I guess more directly, I mentioned that I was part of that program. They were the other, and I mentioned that they were the other children, you could say. Part of the creation of that program, or the reason for it being, was to make living weapons for the AO to be able to use. How will we say? Fight fire with fire, I think is the expression. Use anomalies to kill other anomalies.
Children aren't supposed to be weapons.
Yes, well, that was something that my father believed was the case as well. However, I don't believe the rest of the AO believed in his methods, we'll say.
So far, the Beelgal seem much less cruel than the AO.
Well, at least in terms of child soldiers and such, I'd agree.
Yeah.
They believe what they're doing is something that they do because they have to. Control is a necessary thing to them. And the executioners are a byproduct of that control. Effective, crazed weapons are put down when they go haywire.
Anyone would go haywire if they weren't even allowed to have a childhood.
Starsha just kind of nods to that. Nevertheless, as far as I'm concerned at the moment, their weapons pointed at me, which means they have to be dealt with.
Okay. I was just listening.
She kind of says, in fact, I thought the program had been discontinued after my father and mother left. Oh, I guess myself as well. Come to find out all these years later, getting a very rude awakening and an attack, I was wrong, it seems. Not only did they not stop the program, perhaps they even expanded it to some extent. All the more reason to get rid of it when I get the chance.
I wonder if the Beelgal would be interested in helping us with that. For a location for a new home.
Perhaps. Well, it's still dangerous. Dangerous with that option, too.
I suppose. No option, safe.
Karina kind of looks over and you're like, when you mention get rid of them, what do you mean exactly?
This is a kill or be killed situation.
Starsha nods. But Kari's like looks over at you. But I thought you said, didn't you want to save them?
Me or Starsha?
She's looking at you. Because you
If
said.
there's an option to, I would like to, but if they start shooting at me with giant machine guns, I have no choice but to finish things quickly.
Karina,
I didn't hear all of that.
Oh, which part did you get cut out from? Jai's response or Karina's?
Everything before the word machine gun, and I'm not even sure if that's what was said.
It was.
So,
Jai, please repeat what you said.
If I have the option to, I'd like to go a more peaceful route, but if they come at me with machine guns and I'm left with only one choice, then I'll do what I have to. I would.
not every fight has to end in death.
True, but if they don't stop and they try to kill me, and there's nothing I can do to subdue them any other way, then I'm left with one choice.
Starsha looks over.
Yes, that could be true for a caster.
It could be dangerous.
Not the same case.
Things could be dangerous. And I need you to understand. She looks at you, Marliana and Karina. There's a reason why I said if you see anyone that knows my full name, my actual full name, you need to avoid them. These people are not something to be trifled with. This will not go like dealing with the Valiant Hawks or some type of other little group that we've dealt with. These people are dangerous, and they will go for the kill. They've been trained to.
I hear you. You know, I actually don't think I know Starsha's last name.
Oh.
I don't think I do it either.
Yeah, that's true. Are you asking?
I didn't know. Because I'll write it down if you say it. And if anyone ever takes my journal is such a mine or a gold mine of fucking secrets.
Yes.
I write down almost everything.
Hopefully that does not come back to bite your party in the ass. Anyway.
Maybe you shouldn't say it.
Well, I didn't verbalize it.
Yeah, she didn't vocalize it, saying unless someone's asking.
Oh,
so
actually though, I wouldn't have to know your last name to know that if someone says your name with a last name attached.
Yeah, that's probably not. Yeah, exactly. Even if you don't know the last name, if someone says insert full name here with Starsha included, that's probably like, ooh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that name, but it's close enough.
Yep.
But Starsha will just continue and just say to Karina, listen, I'm not saying that I want you all to become killers. Far be it, actually. But I want you to be smart and I want you to live. If you have to avoid a fight, that is fine. If you have to fight, keep yourself alive and others around you. Do so. If you can't pull the trigger, that's fine, but make sure you're near someone that can. She motions kind of a bit to Jai, and then
I feel like for now it's probably best to avoid them, because I'd imagine they'd be at least close to the strength of your father. And if you can't beat your father, then that...
If you're wondering in a one-on-one fight if I could beat one of them, there's a pretty good chance the answer is no. Maybe if I was able to get some type of edge, some type of thing over them, in a particular type of arrangement, perhaps. But if it comes to blows directly, I'm not sure I could win that. Let alone if there was a group of them dealing with all of us.
I imagine if they're hunting you, they're not going to go alone.
No. Usually they go in groups of 3 to 6. And usually there's a shepherd not too far away from them. Think of it like a captain of sorts. A wrangler for the little toys and tools.
So avoid.
Also, if someone gives you a designation as well of EX00, wait. Let me say something real quick. She's gonna say this, but I need to make sure I have the right information. I think it was. Where's Starsha? Starsha. That's Jai. There we go. I can spell words like execution. Definitely. I'm looking for Starsha's executioner designation. Oh my god, love. Why don't I just have it somewhere? This is like important. There's no way. Oh wait, you know what? It might not be listed as executioner. Oh no, it might be listed as the actual number.
Just search EX.
EX comes up 199 times.
Oh no.
Okay, wait. Okay, wait. It probably. What if I do case sensitive? Okay. E.
Is both E and X capital?
I have an idea. What's the? Let me go to the other people. Ignore the screen. Ah, it's G. Okay, because generation. Right. G1. I think it's G100. Is it 004 or 001?
I feel like EXG1 is probably enough to find if you search it.
Probably. Control F. G1. Okay, it's not on this page. There is a chance. G1. G2. Oh wait, I don't think she was a G1. I think she was a G2. G2S 0. Was she 44? Yes. Okay, I will fix this if I am incorrect about this. But I believe she was either G2044 or G3000. We're gonna go with G2044. So she'll say, if anyone ever comes up as well and it mentions any type of numerical like G2044, that's another one to be mindful of. That would be my previous designation, you could say.
I'll keep that in mind.
Karina kind of looks over. Designation? Like, but I thought you said, weren't you young? Did you do missions with them? Starsha kind of does. It's foggy, I'm not sure, but I don't believe that's why I had that designation. All executioners are given a designation, a numerical code to keep track of them. Karina kind of like tilts her head like, what about a name? Starsha says, executioners aren't given names. Or, at least we're not supposed to be. Equipment isn't given names.
People aren't equipment.
You're right. But as far as the AO is concerned, we are. Well, some of us were. I have a name, and I'm quite fond of it. A name given to me by my father and my absentee mother.
Jai very excitedly just says, this sounds like the perfect place for the Baelgal to really like build a home, create a family, a hive. Just beautiful, in fact.
Well, in any case, yes. Stress this enough. You all know the truth. You all know. Well then. Is that all the questions you have for me?
It's all for me.
Well then, allow me to slightly turn the tables a bit. I did have a few questions for you, Marliana, but nothing major. Firstly, I actually had a question about your mother. Serena, you mentioned a few things last night, but I mentioned that we were going to try to help you with things. Not just to make you, not just to make you stronger, but just to help you mentally. To see that there is something in you that is worth praising. But I need to ask a couple things. Does Serena, do you care about your mother? I don't mean in the sense of a role. I mean, as a mother.
Well, I think so. I slowly understand that the relationship I had with my parents isn't a normal one. But children are supposed to seek, I guess, praise and, kindness from their parents, and that's still something I want.
And so that means, do you hold any resentment for her? I mean, I guess in a way she was absent as well, wasn't she?
Yeah, I haven't seen her since I was 10, or 8.
8, yeah.
8.
Yeah, 8, yeah. So, do you?
Well, I think of her higher in regards than my father,
Understandable.
if that means
considering
anything.
things. But, I guess it's... Why? She kinda looks at you.
Well, unlike the training with my father, hers was really tough, but it wasn't as mean,
I guess that's fair.
or it just, I think she took things too far.
Do you think she blinded you on purpose?
Well, I don't think so. It was just supposed to be the next test.
Karina, it's like, what if it was an accident? Like, what if she did it and didn't realize, or realized afterwards that it was too much and didn't know how to address you? I think Sharptooth, that kind of happened with him. Me, I guess. I wouldn't really say it was to the same extent, but he was trying to push me to follow my actual heart and maybe push me a bit harder in some ways than others, and others, I guess, in a similar way. And I mean, I understand now why he was trying to push me to follow my drive and be myself. But maybe he just could have gone about it a better way. But I guess this doesn't really answer why she would do that. Sorry, Marliana. I guess it wasn't really helpful, never mind.
Well, it's a nice thought at least. I'd like to think that would be the case, but I don't know.
Starsha kind of thinks. It could be for any reason. Who knows why mothers abandon their kids? Doesn't matter. Anyways, enough about her. I'm more curious about other people. What were the stipulations that you were supposed to achieve for your family? What did they, I guess, want from you, so to speak, in that sense? You mentioned it related to your mother, but I guess the connection, I feel like, could you spell it a bit more clearly to us?
Well, believe it or not, I actually don't 100% know, but I know that I was the only one born with my mother's pink hair. Everyone, well, two people in particular, really got on me for that. They were jealous that they didn't have it,
So something about
but
your
I don't
pink
know
hair.
anything about that.
Something about your pink hair, though. It might be something. She looks over at you, Jai. Like, motions for your notebook, like to write it down. Something that we should probably look into. I wonder if that pink hair is symbolic of something. If it shows up in any other Tide Pack lore or history. Maybe even someone else. Well,
I also look like her the most out of all my siblings.
Perhaps it's
Oh,
could be
she's
just
not
a
an
likeness issue.
Aquarian. She's a what's the word? What's the word? Is it merfolk? That's what it's.
Merfolk, yeah,
That's what it
merfolk,
is, right?
Yeah, she's a merfolk.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like the
She's
preset mixed ones, I think, right?
yeah. So she's a merfolk, which is the mixed race of the Aquarians,
Like the
I guess. Mm-hmm.
Well, not exactly.
And
You
I
know what I
think
mean.
that's why I have more of a human look than anyone else.
Yes, that makes sense. Well, I guess that kind of answers the question I had. Oh, I guess not answers all the questions, but I guess that answers that question. And my next question, I feel like you couldn't answer either way, which is that what are any special abilities that you, I guess, would assume that comes from what
I
you are, but I guess you don't really know, do you?
No, I was never trained in anything like that.
I feel like it would have been very good for your mother to train you on that, but maybe it's never mind. Besides that, this is an overarching question, but after last night's reaction you had with Jai, I feel like I have to ask. Considering everything, do you still actually care about the Tide Pack? Moreover, your family.
The Tide Pact is just a place, I guess. I mean, I love the water,
I guess you can
and
say I'm asking more about the people.
I see them like I see the people of Lapsus. I guess they're here and they exist. I wouldn't want any harm done to them or anything.
Right.
I would go out of my way to protect most people, but it doesn't particularly. The Tide Pack doesn't really hold a special place in my heart.
Do you care about the Alta Latel, or I should say, I guess, the Lalel of the Alta Latel that you're about to join?
Well, I'm really interested in some of their culture and the way they do things, and I feel like it'd be a good opportunity to learn things I've never learned before. I didn't have a lot of books about the Alto and their customs. And I like the fact that everyone is treated like family here.
guess I can understand that being a thing that you would desire. Can't blame you for that one. Even I have a feeling, or that feeling towards it. Perhaps that was why I even gravitated towards the lore about them back in Gara. But,
Man, you got quiet for me.
so, she said, perhaps that was, she said she can understand where you're coming from there because she said perhaps that was why she
All right,
was
well,
interested.
that time, that might have been on my end, but I cut out maybe.
Oh, okay, I can repeat. She said that,
God damn it.
am I cutting out? Is signal going out? Is it me? What's happening?
I think we'd need Lewis here to determine
Lewis, can you
that,
hear me?
but
Yeah, I can hear you.
Alright, was I cutting out at all there, or was it...
Your voice gets progressively quiet the longer you talk.
Interesting.
And like it hears you, and then it like kind of is trying to fade you away.
Does it sound fine right here? Is it going in and out when I talk like this?
No,
that
it
sounded
sounded perfect.
Okay, I tilted the mic more towards me. Or I guess towards us. Anyways, Starsha had said that she understood why Marliana would feel that way about the family aspect of the alto, because it was part of the reason that she had, or she said it could have kind of subliminally been part of the reason that she found an interest in them while she was in Gara, considering her lack of family. Outside of her father, but you know what I mean. There might be more to that she's not saying, but that's all she kind of commented on. And then, what was it? Yeah, well, I think that was it. And then, oh yeah, she was gonna ask, do you think of them as equal? The Tide Pack people, I guess, and then the Alta Latel.
well, honestly, I kind of see that Alta Latel is a bit better. Some of the customs of the tide have changed in the last, I don't know how many years, but more recently, they've become really vain and they don't really seem like the ocean's protectors anymore.
No doubt, I imagine that might be that consortium influence. Sorry, perhaps I'm being a little bit facetious. I guess.
Yeah.
Or maybe vindictive
So
is the word.
I do respect the Alto. They don't seem to waver from their path, as far as I'm aware.
Perhaps that's simply the resistance they've experienced in this nation, something the Tideback didn't have. But it could also be other things. I don't necessarily think it's the struggle that got them to the place that they're in inherently. Community is a big portion of it as well. I'm unfamiliar with the Tide Pack sense of community, but I imagine it's different considering their society is much more militant, as I understand. Or militant focus. And what is a culture to do when they're so focused on military and we'll say domineering and such, when there is no conflict? I do wonder. In any case, I had one more question. This one more overarching. Do you feel that you are strong enough to return to Chris?
No.
Do you feel the party is? Be honest.
Thinks a little bit more about that. Thinks about it for a while, like, kind of like doing some
Yeah, calculus.
yeah.
And I'm thinking
Yeah.
like, well,
Well, I mean, if I think you could like survive underwater, that probably wouldn't be an issue, but not really.
Understandable. Is there, with that in mind, is there an item recognized by your people? or otherwise that you think would help you become stronger. Something they'd recognize. You can roll me
Well,
a.
do you remember?
Okay, you can go ahead and say what
Oh
you
yeah,
want to, but you
absolutely.
can
I want to
also
roll, but I
let's
do
say
have
yeah.
this
Sorry,
slide.
continue to speak first. Don't. Sorry, I didn't mean to distract you. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I do actually have to scroll quick.
That's fine. As you're scrolling, then it would be
But
roll of a recollection or a knowledge local. Knowledge, faith, or lawless local regal. Sorry.
faith or local?
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
Jai
or
might as
recollect? Hold
well.
on,
So
I might have.
recollection for you, Marliana, local regal or faith. Jai, everything except recollection. And then continue what you're saying, Marliana. What you like passively were gonna say.
Yeah. All right, here's my roll. I'm doing recollection just because
Yeah, I mean it makes
that
sense
seems pretty.
too.
Wow. I'm not even wasting a human die on that. I'm just gonna just take the L. But
Jai, our lore expert, come in for the save. Anything other than recollection. So, or any of the other two options, I should say. So, faith or local regal.
and damn it, my note taking wasn't as nat 20. Oh boy, is that what I heard?
Yep, you did. Nat 20 plus 7. Jai. Alright.
Well, my notes didn't really help.
Okay.
I didn't take as in-depth notes on our first session.
That's fine.
But I do know that, I have a semi-okay memory sometimes. Anyways, back to it. You remember that? Damn, I don't even know if Starsha was. All right,
No,
hold on.
but
I
I
have to
do
go
know
back.
who was there. Gathor, I believe.
Right. Well, and then we talked about the
Yeah,
plays
everyone
afterwards,
talked as
so.
well. So like, Starsha got the
Yeah.
rundown. Yeah.
So, do you remember when I told you about the play I saw when we were making our way here, on the boat?
Starsha nods. Yes, I believe that was the one about the something about the cursed sea, but with the tale of something. It was. I remember that it was something about champions and aqua, and then a betrayal of the sea, something like that.
Something like that. Well, one of the champions, not the one in question of the betrayal,
Mm-hmm.
or the one that actually did, because that story wasn't told correctly. But the sword. Wait, was what she was called the Sword Maiden,
Yes,
right?
that
Like
was the sword
that wasn't
maiden.
just the weapon's name.
No, that was because
Okay.
the weapon is called the Sword Maiden's arm. So yeah.
Right. Okay, I thought so.
So yeah, Sword Maiden.
Uh, well, the Sword Maiden, one of the champions of Aqua, had her arm, the Sword Maiden's arm, a transforming weapon, I believe. It's very highly regarded because there was never a doubt of her loyalty to Aqua.
I see.
I remember hearing about this play and also reading a book about it. The play seemed like it was not
But
accurate.
I know there are other
I don't know if
artifacts.
they heard that.
I didn't know.
Yep.
Jed just goes, I remember hearing about this play. The play didn't seem very accurate. There was a book I read about that had much more information. And so Jed says,
Yeah, I'll get into what I'll say no in a moment, but continue, Marliana.
Yeah, I read something about the true history as well. My family did have a good collection of books that. Well, anyways, yeah, the Sword Maiden's arm is. I mean, I imagine it is quite powerful, and more than that, it's recognized that the wielder is of great importance to the tide. And I guess the primary too.
Good things. The way of the sea, I imagine, yes. That being said, is this armament in these... I mean, is it within your people? Like, is it something that they have currently? And asking that, I'm gonna say what Jai would know.
Cool.
So Jai, with your nat 20 plus 7 and plus other things, you are, despite, I mean, you were right. You read some books about it. Perhaps in your study of various alchemical concoctions as it pertains to the people of the Tide, as they do have a lot of alchemical, we'll say, infusions that they are known to have made. Mainly things that focus on not necessarily just healing, but various different, what was that, sorry?
Would that nat 20 give Jai the information about the one thing? I'm not saying the one thing that Giambo had.
Type it to me.
Just-
Yes, because I was about to say, they have certain things that don't just affect, we'll say, health in a more, we'll say, heal of damage type way. They have certain alchemical concoctions that suggest a kind of, how will we say, a refinement of the skin and better wellness of the body. In general, things that can help keep someone more sustained and lively for longer. Or, as some tales suggest, they have created a concoction or an alchemical solution that is capable of somewhat cheating death, at least due through the general expiration date of other creatures. It's even hypothesized that some in their upper echelon have used this. However, there has, of course, been no direct proof of this substance existing. But a term, for instance, called seabed's nectar is a alchemical, is a part of an alchemical concoction believed to be able to make this thing. However, again, its refinement is difficult to find, especially considering it's said to lie at the bottom of many different trenches. It's a type of solution that's secreted from the planet. Here and in the Primoridia. Primoridia more, but the Primoridia is significantly deeper than the waters of Jakar. So, that being said, though, as you're kind of thinking about those books of interest to yourself, you remember reading, yes, about Kasha the Sword Maiden. It came up a few times as Aqua and such was kind of enraptured in any history around the Tide Pack, at least up to a certain extent before the Consortium Wars, really. And one of the big things, Kasha's weapon called the Sword Maiden's Arm, it's so prolific in the Tide Pack's heritage, and of course the Way of the Seas, but for the Tide Pack, they see it only really as its weapon, its importance as a weapon, an artifice to enact the will of, Aqua and their regime. But for the Way of the Sea, it represents many things. Honestly, it almost feels like the Way of the Sea understands its changing nature as a follow-through to what it's supposed to be, a tool that can protect, attack, and be utilized in a variety of different ways, not just simply one for harm and authority. And with that extension, huh? Say it again?
Did you say the Way of the Sea?
Yes, the Way of the Sea faith sees it in a much more holistic way than the Tide Pack does. But that being said, you also recall a very interesting bit of lore. The Sword Maiden's arm was lost to the waves during that play you mentioned that you mentioned reading about. That tale also talks about how various of the champion's weapons were lost to the waves. Even the supposed recovery of the vessel and things after the incident, historically, they were not able to find any, including, of course, the Soul of the Sea. We're not able to find any of the armaments belonging to the the people, or belonging to the people of the tides or the way of the sea. Because of that, they have had to make replicas. Of course, nowhere near as potent and powerful, and very much lacking in terms of the actual prowess of these artifacts, but still symbolic representations. For instance, the champions, each of the main heads of the Tai Pack military kind of hold weapons of similar kind of status, at least to them, not in terms of power, but just status and representation in the Tide Pack. And one of them, and also among the main leading house, that being the Jows, holds a armament that is an exact replica of the Sword Maiden's arm. Well, at least one function of the Sword Maiden's arm. It lacks the ability to change its state, kind of showing its counterfeit nature, but again, it is more of a symbol, albeit a symbol that can be used as a weapon. It is usually held by one recognized in the Jows, not necessarily, or sometimes as a position of strength or posterity. In terms of who has that weapon, I believe you would actually know who it is right now. I think it's either, is it the middle brother or is it the older brother? I think we talked about this. Which one is it?
It's the middle because he's been recognized
Right.
by Giambo.
Yes, so it's the middle brother. Name. It's not Koa, is it?
Pretty sure it's Koa.
It's Koa?
Yeah,
Right, because Koa Joe and yeah, because there's a funny,
Yeah.
So Koa Zhao is the current holder of that replica, recognized by the family and a prominent combatant within the Tide Pact right now. He's actually currently a big shoo-in for the Tide plans on hosting another tournament of the Tides, as they did before the war prior. They kind of elected not really elected, but represented the champion and some of the main leaders that would be in the war, the Rising War at the time. This seems to be that, but for a different era. And he is currently vying for that, we'll say, recognition, so to speak.
I think it's funny that Jai knows this, and I'm pretty sure Marliana.
Marliana
I'm almost certain
knows about the Koa situation. That he was recognized, but
that he was recognized.
Yes, and that he had something that is very important, at least to the Jows and to the Tide Pack, that represents something important to them. But that probably be the extent. I could see you arguing that she would probably know its name, but
I could see it just because Koa was one of the people to really aggravate Marliana the most.
Yeah, he could. I imagine he'd probably slightly gloat, especially since you were kind of.
Yeah, I'm thinking that too.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it like you weren't the favorite child, but you know what I mean. You were the favored in terms of what your position was supposed to be. So the moment he was given this, he would try to hold it over your head, even if you literally had no idea why it was so significant. I could see it like that. You could know it was significant, but not know why per se. And kind of putting the pieces together now.
Right.
But yeah. Jai, are you sharing any of this knowledge?
Jai is going to wait till Marliana responds, and then kind of interrupt and share everything.
I'm sure they didn't hear that, but Jai said they're gonna let you respond and then share all of what was just said.
Alright, shit, what was I gonna say before? Because now that answer has changed. What was the last,
last question. Basically, about the artifact, what was something recognized, and you had mentioned about the Sword Maiden's arm because of the tail.
Right, okay,
and then you were piecing all that together.
Yeah, and I alright, I know what I'm gonna say now.
Cool.
I got it all together. I do remember one day one of my older brothers came to me saying that he got one of these artifacts at the Tide uh, worship, I guess. I believe it was the Sword Maiden's arm.
Starsha, but Starsha's about to say something. That would be when Jai interjects and says, "Actually, no." Jai would Jai would come and say, well, and then just get say like, "Well, the thing is," and then kind of like explain everything that's said, which would probably Karina to say, "Wait, so it's a counterfeit then?" Starsha kind of says, "Well, I don't necessarily think counterfeit is the right word. They're not exactly trying to falsely assert that it is the real weapon, more that it's a representation. That being said, that means the real weapon's up for grabs. We just have to find it." Karina kind of looks over. It's like, "Yeah, but isn't that going to be kind of hard? I imagine it's not like the Tide Pack hasn't looked for it for, centuries now, right?" Fari actually will speak up and says, "Just because groups have been looking for something for a while doesn't necessarily mean that we couldn't find it first. There's many things that had been looked for or sought after for a while that Gara found, even though they had been being searched for many years. All you need is the right information and the right place to look." Starsha
Well, it
says.
sounds like Jai has a lot of information. Do you have any ideas?
Starsha looks over. "John, you should probably, if you can gather information from one of those books that you had about that, that'd be pretty good. Maybe looking into just the weapon more specifically. Places it's popped up. Any type of anointing that Kasha probably had. Maybe like a temple or a place that Kasha might have been anointed as a champion for Aqua. We might even want to stop at any way of the sea places."
Too.
Right, that would actually be a good idea. Feldt would probably know about more of this directly, having been a follower of the Way of the Sea. Not to mention, I wonder if we can find any of the other armaments too.
The sky's the limit.
If they're all lost, then that means they can be found by us. She kind of smiles. She kind of smirks.
That sure does sound nice.
What is this tournament as well? I'm curious about it.
I actually know about that.
She looks over.
Well, it's a tournament that's happened many times before, but I actually believe my mom was one of the first winners of it when she was my age.
Well,
that's when she became the defender.
She looks over and kind of gets a smirk. Well, imagine a homecoming where you show up with with the artifact they've lost and win that tournament.
Marliana just has a smile on her face. She kind of like looks down to hide it, kind of, but it's very easily
it's very
seen.
obvious. Starsha has like a smile on her face, like a kind of like smirk, kind of says, "There we go. That's the Marliana that we like seeing." All right, now we just have to figure out where this armament is. It might take some time, but we can do it while we're doing other things. I think we should definitely pursue it. I have a feeling that we're going to be going to Chris eventually, but I think we should go with our hands, we'll say, packed with some new tools. With that being said, that's all I really had questions for, Marliana.
Okay.
She kind of stretches. Alright, we should all get ready to head out soon. I imagine that we have some other stuff and Fari kind of sits over and she's like, "Oh yes, actually, that does raise me, oh sorry, let me rephrase that. Sarge's gonna say that, and then Fari's gonna sit up and say, "Well, if this is a good enough time as any to mention it now. Your presence has been requested with Gareth. I think he's ready for you to do another little mission for him. Starsha kind of says, oh, what type of mission? She's like, I'll tell you all on the way. Starsha kind of looks, wait, did you have this information before we even started talking this morning? So Farah just kind of like puts a finger to her cheek, kind of thinking, kind of bends her pan down. Maybe. So I was just like, why didn't you tell us? That would have taken more precedence. She's like, well, I was curious what the conversation was going to be about. And also, curious about your family a bit. She kind of gives, like, Starsha a wink. Starsha just kind of... There's a little bit of a fluster, but she kind of just, like, rolls her eyes and says, well, in any case, I'll go get the others. Everyone get your stuff on.
Alright.
Homie,
And we need
Starsha will come in and get you, basically, and say, like, basically to get up, and that we need to, we're gonna head out in a moment.
Has anyone seen Rebecca? She hasn't come back?
Rebecca, as she gonna says, Starsha would say, Rochelle, I think she, and as she says that, you hear, she says, is that dumb lizard fox still calling me Rochelle, as Rebecca comes in. So it's just like, dumb lizard fox. She looks so,
And she
That's
means
a
you.
reasonable description, I suppose.
So Rebecca will walk into the door past Starsha and say, homie, you're alright. It's good to see you. Oh, I
Hey,
mean,
where do you
shopping.
go?
I went out to do a little, you could say shopping. Mainly after talking with Magellan, the party needed some bullets, or some of us needed bullets. Looks like they've been draining themselves dry, it seems. And she would thumb back into the room where there's a crate full of ammunition.
Nice. Damn, crate? That's crazy, actually.
I know it's not carrying that around.
She's like, I'm pretty strong. Decently, at least. Though, I won't lie, it was a bitch to get in here. That's fine. We don't have to lug it. We can lug it to the wagon later. That being said, are we going to... I mean, I know we have the wagon, but are we going to be able to continue to have Brutus in them? I guess we'll have to rebuy them for the time.
I don't know who
Wait, when did we
that.
get them? Hold on, I wrote that down. What day was
Oh,
that?
it's past, like, the time is turned... You were supposed to turn them in yesterday. So...
Ooh.
Yeah, because
you were
yeah,
allowed because of the urgent quest, but yeah, they've been turned in now.
I mean, it wasn't that expensive.
No, it wasn't.
Well,
It wasn't.
written
It wasn't
down.
expensive really at all. She's just saying that you have to recheck them out again. Starsha kind of.
It was just 12 gold a day.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
wasn't
that's
crazy.
fine.
Starsha kind of nods like, well, I guess we might have to do that. In any case, Rochelle. Oh, you've already got your stuff on. How good. We're heading out. And she, like, turns around and leaves the door. Rebecca just kind of looks back at her, and she just kind of... And she looks back at you. So, seriously, though, how are you doing?
I woke up with a metallic taste, but it wasn't blood, so I don't know. Fine.
Metallic? That would make me think blood, but if it faded... Feldt, bless her heart, was doing all she could, but I don't really know if she was doing much. Not in a bad way. I mean, like, I hate to say it. She kind of looks back out of the way, like the Starsha who's in the other room, but I think Starsha had a point. Your wounds did seem to have healed for the most part. Even I was shocked. I've never...
A good thing.
No, it is. You heal extremely quick. I don't think I've seen anything like that before.
A little different.
I guess you are. I know. She says, I sure know how to pick 'em. gives you a wink.
Yeah.
In any case, come on, let's go. And you'll see she puts her belt, like, kind of gets her belt with all of her bits and bobs, a grenade and stuff on. And she, has her flintlock to her side. Oh, actually, she does not have her flintlock anymore. She actually has, like, an actual, sidearm now. And she kind of says, oh.
Upgrade.
Yep, she got a little upgrade. She's like, oh, don't worry. She kind of says, it still shoots just as fine. Now, I am having to get used to a little bit of how they fire, different from the flintlock. Modern tools, modern devices, modern solutions and all that. Oh, if my father could see me now. Oh, he'd probably throw a hissy fit. She just puts the gun back in the holster on her side.
Interest has just gone up, but I don't know if I'm there, so it doesn't matter yet.
What was that, homie?
You said you have a father?
Of course I have a father. I have a mother as well.
I've never heard you mention them before.
Yes, well, to be fair, I don't like thinking about back at home. I left that life for a reason. Bit too prim and proper for my liking. She rolls her eyes. I prefer to be on the seas.
Like to meet them if possible.
Oh, you really wouldn't. I can assure you of that. But if you must.
Oh, bring this up another time.
She kind of says, sure. Though, that does make me think of something. Homie, I want a new ship.
Oh. Yeah, I thought we were working on it, or...
Yes, I know we're working on it, but I do genuinely want a new ship.
Like a new ship, or the same ship that...
I think, well, I did love the old lass. She was a good starter ship, but we need something that's going to push the envelope a bit. I think that the cleaner uppers too are going to need something that can really, knock the socks off of people. Oh, right. I mean the Echoes of Stardust.
I mean, I like knocking socks off of people. They shouldn't have socks in the first place, so...
It says, I'll draw up some plans for some things, but we'll see. Building a new ship is expensive, but these Alto do have quite a large amount of resources. We could procure some things from them, maybe some bartering and sorts. Trade in some favors. Or maybe even the guild, perhaps.
That one.
But Feldt at this point is kind of waking up, rubbing her eyes, like, what's happening? Is everything alright? Homie, are you... She kind of, turns to you and sees, you're up. She just kind of immediately softens. You're alright, okay. You both have your stuff on. Are we heading out somewhere?
We're actually mimics. We're robbing you.
Mimics?
You're getting robbed. Hand
She's
over all your money.
confused. What's a mimic?
Us.
Rebecca just kind of chuckles, oh, hopefully you don't have to find out, lass. She just has no idea what you're talking about, just kind of okay. She Rebecca just says, yes, we're heading out. She's like, oh, okay. And she'll go over to the washroom with some of her stuff and get changed. So, after a bit of time, everyone can get ready, get their stuff on, and head out. As said before, it is actually raining. So it is raining about a medium level of rain. Slight wind, but nothing too crazy yet. It does seem like it might continue raining, and it does also seem like it might pick up. Maybe not, you're not sure about the thunderstorm level yet, but definitely something close to or akin to heavy rain. Not too long from now, maybe in a couple hours. But as you do, you can see that there are various alto people kind of walking out in the rain. Not as many, but there is several that have like boxes or like panels like above their heads they hold to shield themselves from the rain. Some with their shield, they're like long shields. It is actually around 10 o'clock. Yeah, you guys had a little bit of a long discussion at your room, so slightly
Fair, yeah.
later start, but not too crazy, and also not for good reason. So, not for better, yeah. Not for good reason? I'm sorry, I think I said that expression wrong. You know.
Not without good reason?
Yeah, not without good reason. I was like, wait a second, that's not what I meant to say. So yeah. So, about... What? Someone... Was that just breathing, or was someone about to say something?
I had an idea, but I wasn't actually gonna verbalize it yet, so...
Okay. Well, as you guys are walking, out to the place, as I pull something up, Fari will actually kind of mention a bit more. Some people obviously have their umbrellas out, others are just walking in the rain, because why not?
Yes, water feels good.
It does. It does actually feel good. Something about the rain here also, you notice, it actually does kind of feel good. Like, slightly therapeutic, almost. It might just be like the medium rain, but the sound kind of feels pleasant. The pitter-patter on your shoulders and your hair. It doesn't feel like... It doesn't make your hair itchy or anything. It makes it feel very kind of like glistened. Almost. It almost feels clean. Like it's a cleaning almost. As you walk. You're really... I'd say you're really like this. Yeah.
Yeah. And it'd be clear she'd be skipping around,
Very happy.
gleefully.
Especially after this morning's conversation. Everything is just feeling good. But yes, Vari will explain more, as she kind of says. Anyway, as I was earlier. So, about So as we decided to, of course, study more of those constructs that you brought back. Me and Gareth got down to the more analytical side of things. And those constructs definitively were corrupted by something. Based on the strange synthetic burns across their cores and the fragmentations in their minds that we were able to pull up on the terminal, they were. However, gathering info on what corrupted them is proving difficult. But perhaps going out into the field and finding more afflicted cores could help us with that investigation. And to that extent, it probably would be easy to find some infected cores if we were able to link to the Architekian remnant system in the area. The Seeker system in the area. However, for that, we'll need some type of transmission tower. And I believe that's what Gareth is actually going to have us assist him with. Gareth has been working with Sharptooth on something. Gareth and Quada have been working on something together. Apparently, they've been trying to get a new communications infrastructure, or some new communications infrastructure up for the Lalel. The plan is to connect them somewhat to Emerald Spear, and by proxy, a new auto communication network that seems to be going up around the consortium. Starsha kind of looks over like, auto communication network. Safari kind of nods. Yes. There's been whispers about it, even among the guild, that the Alto have been developing their technology a lot more, how should we say, adeptly in secret. And because of that, this
Wait, did
seems
you say? Can you repeat the last sentence? I might have
there's some
mixed it
rumors
up.
around the guild even that the Alto have been discreetly building up their infrastructure or building up their technological know-how, and this might be bearing the fruit. This might be the fruit of it, or the truth of it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Sorry. She kind of continues and says, and to that extent, it seems that this, to that extent, it seems like this might be the example. I imagine, though, that they'll still want to keep some of this under wraps, or the specifics of it, so I'll be, how shall we say, sparse in my report a bit. But still, the guild will want to know about some new communications array coming up. But that's besides the point. With this alta communication infrastructure, we should be able to piggyback onto the signal in the area. Once we're there, we can detect if there's some abnormalities more directly, and we can track them from the safety of the settlement. Once we do, we should be able to source and find where these constructs, well, maybe where a source of corrupted constructs are, maybe even some ones that have been taken out and have been designated for perjury or purging.
That. I mean, I know we have transceiver devices, but are they capable of doing that?
Fari kind of says, and that is why we are going to be helping Gareth. As soon as they can get the communication the system up, all we need to do is connect them to the network, and they can do it from here.
But what kind of tools would we need to do it ourselves? Just for, the
Fari
sake of
says,
knowledge.
we would need to have some type of proxy waypoint tower, i.e. a transmission tower. Once we have that, we would also need something hooked up to it, like a terminal, that we can access. And from that terminal, we should be able to tell. Transceiver devices are perhaps a bit, at least the ones we have, are a bit too lowbrow for what we'd need. However, something more advanced possibly could.
Okay. But we would need a place to put all that, like a ship or a base.
She nods. Yes, something that we could definitely put, something that we could put onto it that would be more stable, if you will. Starsha just nods. Oof, I apologize. Didn't mean to yawn like that. I'm just pulling something out. Okay. I assume homie's got anything to say so far.
What?
I'm just saying, I assume you have nothing to say so far, right? As everyone's walking and talking. Okay.
I have one more
go
thing
ahead.
to add, actually.
Yep. As you guys are getting in the area of the actual shop where Gareth is, go ahead.
I'm sure you guys can take care of things from here. Should I go get Brutus and Silbeck back? I'm pretty sure our contract is up.
Fari kind of says, "Oh, that's a good point. You should do that, Marliana. Though you should
I'll make
probably
sure
take
we
someone
get
with
back. Yeah, that's fine, I guess.
you."
I mean,
Gathor
whoever wants to come.
Gathor and Gathor will raise their hand and say, I wouldn't mind going. And Fari and Starsha will nod.
Sounds good to me. Out of curiosity, I imagine Gathor is using her umbrella
Yes.
like most people would.
Yes, she is.
Well, I imagine we're gonna start walking away here.
Yep,
Just
walking away.
I don't know what it is, but the rain here feels really different. You should You should try it.
Gathor kind of looks over and kind of nods and puts their hand out into the rain. And then kind of just holds their palm, kind of shifting it around as the rain pitters and patters off of the sides of their fingers and hand. They kind of move their hand facing it up now, and it trickles off down the sides once more. They kind of look again at their palm, and they kind of just begin to like tilt their head and almost size up the rain, and they rub their hand and finger, or rub their fingers together. Kind of saying, it does feel nice, slick, not like a slime, just or anything. Just it feels very pleasant. Yep.
Oh, you're like more in touch with nature than most. Have you heard of a sensation like this before?
It seems as though
I mean, I haven't really been in
this
the rain
area
because
falls. Oh,
water.
go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, I've read about rain, but I haven't experienced it until we all adventured in Lapsus. But this really doesn't seem like the things I heard about in the things I read.
He kind of looks and says, "Well, I imagine that it has to do more with something in the land itself. This place seems to be teeming with nature and primal energy. It's as if they're following on a fault of it. So maybe that's why?"
Well, it sure is interesting. I guess there's still plenty more things to discover about the area and just in general.
Starsha nods, and so does. Or no, Starsha, I'm sorry. Gathor. No, I don't know why it's Starsha. Gathor nods, and she kind of says, "I guess so."
Well, she'll take Gathor's hand, which, now that she's gotten her hand wet,
Yeah.
it's fine that my,
Gathor will
completely
will meet your hand, and then we'll walk with you.
I'm gonna have her skip with me.
Okay. She'll first she's a bit slow.
I'm gonna
but
try to at least.
First she's a bit slow, but she does kind of start to like slightly loosen up a bit and skip a bit more, even if it's like a light skip. So, yeah. Meanwhile, Gareth at the shop. The workshop now has a large kind of has a bunch of crates hooked up, or like not hooked up, that are off to the side with a bunch of different like metal panels and things on them and poles. Something is you can see being moved by different Alto members by wagon over to the area where where kind of like the chieftain's area is. But within the shop, you can see Gareth hard working away, smelting various different plates of metal and such. And then they kind of turn and look over at you through like a window, and then they go back around and come out of one of the side doors over to approach all of you. They kind of like, "It was good to see you all. How is everything doing? I imagine you're here because of the request." He kind of looks over at Fari. Fari just nods. "Of course. Even though a quest hasn't been written up, I can do so in a brief amount of time." He's like, "Oh, that will be good. That will be good. But you can all enter if you'd like." Motion for everyone to follow in if they'd like. Okay. Once inside, you can see his workshop has been definitely. It seems as though he's got a bunch of things like stacked up and prepared, metal sheets and things. You can see what looks to be the discarded remains, but like some of the opened up metal chassis for different components of these constructs. And you can see one of the constructs is currently sitting in like almost a rectangular kind of funneled almost kiln, which is smelting down some of the excess materials and grinding them out into scrap metal. As that's happening, he'll turn and look over to you all, and he says, "Yes, so about that quest. So I am Suffice to say, we have a lot of problems happening in the lab, and I wanted to try to fix them as best as I can. To that extent, I think it's time for us to finalize our, how should we say, meeting with them. We plan on, he kind of says, we had planned on doing this before you had left at the last time. However, especially now since there's been some updates, and I can't believe a Beogol is somehow near. Either way, we think it's time for us to communicate with the rest of the Alto line, and more directly, if we can do that, we can start maybe dealing with some of the pest issues here we have. That being said, he kind of like, he'll go over behind his desk and he'll pull out some papers, and he'll pull out looks to be some type of device. It's slightly heavy. It's like this kind of like, it looks to be like a set of, maybe it's kind of like a thick screen and a thick screen and a small kind of pad, as he takes out and sits it down on the table. And then he takes what looks to be a cylindrical device with these kind of like, with these prongs hooked into the side with his flipped up little feet. He says, alright, here's that. And that's the terminal, the mini terminal. Oh, right, that should do it. So, I need you to take all this stuff, and I need you to, how do we say, activate it. What this is a signal booster. We're going to use this to help triangulate the position that we want our waypoint tower or our transmission tower to be able to link to. This should help give us a bit of a, how will we say, stronger connection. He kind of nods and he says, your part is, as I said, you're going to go out with this device and you're going to activate it. Once that activation is completed, you're going to pick it up and move to the next site. It shouldn't be too difficult, but you might encounter a few creatures out there in the wilderness that might be threatening, or even constructs now that we've seen what they've been doing, right? So, will you accept the quest? Starsha kind of looks over, and Fari kind of nods as well, and and Fari will say, yes, I believe that we will take this quest. Okay, I think says, he kind of nods. Happy, thank you. Thank you, he kind of nods. Oh, right, and if anything comes up on these mine cores that's useful, I'll make sure to let you all know. Starsha just kind of nods and turns away and says, alright, that seems to be most of our main stick for today. Let's go out. It kind of says, these signal boosters, I've used some of them before, actually. Back in the mountains of Gara, if we wanted to get some type of transmission around, but here we're gonna need them. We need to place them, she kind of says, we're gonna need to place them around a selection of areas. Looks like she pulls up like a map that the old dude had. She say, if we go from that area and move all the way to the we move all the way to the kind of says the east side here. Starsha kind of thinks, yes, that should be enough distance and proximity. We could triangulate from there. Gary kind of comes back. He's like, oh, if you need exact locations, he'll kind of goes over to the map, starts looking out, and just draws kind of some circles around certain sections of the forest. Yep, this should do. Once you have it activated, well, I should add, once you have them activated, there's a good chance, it kind of just depends on if they notice the intrusion immediately before we can align ourselves with the signal. They're going to try to find where you are, and if they can, destroy the signal booster. Our job is to make sure they can't do that for as long as possible. So she just kind of nods, got it. And then once we find the place, we can activate it. We'll deal with the situation, and then we'll head back once we're done. He kind of nods. Thank you. Thank you. Starsha gonna turns. Alright, party. We know what our job is. We could probably even split into 2 groups for this one. Make things easier on us. We'll discuss teams in a moment once we'll discuss teams in a moment. But until then, we should probably look to see if there's anything here we might want. And with that being said, I actually think that we'll probably call it here. A bit of a shorter session. But I think that it's fitting because the next session will begin with the quest called Lalel Communications. And we might even get up to another quest as part of that one, because there's kind of 2 that you can do here. But yes. In any case, I would like to thank everyone for making it this far in this session, as it has been a fun time, with big discussions having been had. Of course, if you'd like to follow more of CSG and Echoes of Stardust here, you can do so by subscribing to the channel, liking the video to push it to more people, as well as commenting. Comments down below. Mommy issue. Anyway, no, don't do that. Comment down below what your favorite part of the session was, and what you look forward to see next. I know I got a little bit rambly there towards the end. That's mainly because I started to also get tired. So I apologize for that. But besides the point, yeah, go ahead and give us that. Of course, share us around, as it does help a lot with spreading awareness of the project. And if you would like to try Dream Forge yourself, you can once again do so by going down into the description box, joining the community Discord, where we field all of our people that want to play or run games. Also, of course, if you are looking to find, Also, if you're looking to find some cool art for the project, you can do so by looking at the link tree in the bio, in the description, where it lists all of our different socials and stuff. Of course, we do love our art and our artists. So, yes, I think that that's all that we got for today. So, once again, thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next session or episode. Toodles!
Yay.
Mm.